Is Paul LePage here? Okay. Okay, Paul, you've got 3 minutes, sir. Go ahead.
On?
Yeah.
Hi. I'm a city gardener. I worked for 30 years for the city now. I believe my goal in working for the city is to create beauty in our parks. I've been doing this for the last 30 years in a park called Humber Bay, which is in Etobicoke South. I would like all of you to actually take a walk in the park sometime and see how beautiful our parks are. I don't think we promote them enough. I know Norm said he worked in the Scarborough Parks for a while. I was here doing a parks deputation. This is my third deputation. I took a vacation day to be here, so I'm not on union time. Sorry, I think this is very important. I think our parks are part of the beauty of our city that hasn't been talked about enough tonight. There's libraries and everything else I think are really important, and people are really well spoken. I don't have any facts or anything. I just want to speak about how the frontline workers, I'm one of them, is part of why the parks are so beautiful. If we contract out these things, I can give you really bad examples of what contractors do. They come in, they do a job, they don't take any responsibility, they leave. They're there to make money, and that's all they're there for. We work in the parks, we take care of the parks, we make sure they stay beautiful for the people to visit them. The parks are being, I work in Humber Bay, which is now, if you don't know, it's surrounded by condos now, and every year there's more and more condos, so it's under a lot of pressure. There's a lot of people who use our parks, and the people who can't go away in the weekends actually are there every day. So I hope you guys, before you think about contracting out, you have to realize we went under big cuts during amalgamation. We lost, when I first worked there in amalgamation, we had like 21 workers. We're down to 8 workers now. We're overworked. I'm telling you, I struggle to have a standard I want to keep up, and I find it really hard to keep that standard up in our parks these days. So I hope you guys appreciate the work we do out there. I was thinking back to last Thursday when I was here, and it was 48 degrees humidex. And supposedly, according to the city bylaws, we're supposed to work 15 minutes and take 45 minutes breaks. Can you imagine that if our workers actually only worked 15 minutes and took a 45-minute break? We're out there working steadily all day. So give us a little bit of respect. I want some respect from you guys. I respect you when you do a good job. Respect us when we do a good job. This is very, very important. So I'd like to just I'd like to thank all the councillors who don't have to be or are still here. That's great, and the people who did stay to keep quorum. I really appreciate the ones who did not be here, and there was a lot of good comments, a lot of good questions, and I hope we just keep it up. And
thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Councillor Doucette has a question, and Councillor Mahavik.
Go ahead.
Paul,
hold on 1 second. Sorry, Councillor. Point of order, Mr. Budget Chief.
Well, Mr. Chair, you said at the beginning that the items that were in other committees, et cetera, weren't to be dealt with here. I don't.
You know what? I've been very flexible. You know what? We've been dealing with a whole ton of different items. You know what? I'm not.
Well, we brought libraries and parks. They're all part of our committees.
It's okay.
Doesn't the final decision come down to you guys? Sorry. But it comes down to you in the end. You're the executive committee. Everything goes into your hands. I'll be there in September too. Thank you.
That's fine. Okay.
Sorry.
It'll be okay.
I just thought you guys were the final decision makers, so I thought it was important to hear my story.
Sir, don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's okay. Councillor Doucette, you have a minute. Go ahead.
Paul, I was wondering if you could explain to us a bit about the High Park greenhouses and how what goes on there goes out into our city and, in fact, helps our environment because plants all around helps the air stay cleaner and helps people be happy in our city.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about our Hard Park greenhouses. I have worked there during the winter, and it's our Hard Park greenhouses produce 80% of our flowers that actually go out into the beds. The ones you see out there are produced by basically the High Park greenhouse and the Centennial greenhouse. They also have they produce it way less than we can buy it anywhere else at a much lower cost, probably 1/3 of the cost. I can't give you the exact numbers because I'm not a data guy, but I know I've talked to the guys there, and they produce everything at a much more efficient cost. And they also have a native plant project, which is run by one person, believe it or not, and they grow native plants that are native to society to recreate what we used to have in natural
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Councillor Mahavik.
Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just by the way, Mr. Mayor, my last name is pronounced Mihavik.
Mahavik?
Mi.
Mahavik? What am I pronouncing wrong? Mahavik?
Mi. M-I.
Mahavik.
Oh, my. Anyway, I don't want to get too distracted by that. It just sometimes it bugs me, that's all. My question to the deputant is the following. I believe that happy employees happy workers are also productive workers. Can you talk about where you think in your department, Parks Department, which has had a lot of cuts, where the staff morale is at, in as honest a way as you can?
I can say the morale right now is the lowest it's ever been. We have shown, like I said, I want some respect. Feel like we're just sort of disposable. I'm sorry. The people out there are worried about, the next day that they could be cut. I think it's horrible morale. I'm serious. I have a big fight because I'm a lead hand. I'm trying to talk my workers let's just do our job. But, every day you hear in the paper, we're going to cut.
Sorry, it's past a minute. I apologize.
Jeez, that was fast. Sorry.
Sorry about that. Okay, on to now. Any other visiting councillors need to ask questions? Seeing none. Councillor Mamalidi.
Well, this isn't a reflection on you, but in my particular ward, our parks are in horrible condition. And I blame directly the staff that are working in those parks because they're not doing their job.
Well, I think you can blame partly amalgamation. We're decimated.
The question I have for you is, are you seasonal?
Am I what?
Are you a seasonal worker?
No, I'm a permanent worker.
All right. And you're the lead hand. So you
Yes.
understand the seasonal work, right?
Yes, I understand
All
what seasonal
Is
is, yes.
it true that they meet every February and decide on where they want to work in the city, that they don't have to work at any one particular place for a whole year? They can just decide on where they go?
In work selection, you mean? Is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about? Yeah, that's true.
Really?
Yeah.
So in other words, the parks seasonal workers can decide every year where they want to work in the city. It doesn't.
Yeah, that probably makes them happier because they have a choice of where they want to go, so they'll
The
probably be
city
more
has no
productive.
say- the city has no say in terms of where they work.
Well, the city puts out so many jobs, and they have a choice from what jobs they want. I think if you have a worker going to somewhere he wants to work, you're going to get more productivity
Thank you,
out of him.
sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thanks for your time.
We're at 234, Marit Mastab. Again, I apologize if I pronounce your name wrong. Marit, M-A-R-I-T, Marit. Okay, no Marit. Okay, we're going to go to 235, Martin Julian. Martin, come on forward. Yeah. Have a seat. You got 3 minutes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for the time. And I really wanted to congratulate Doug, actually. The time that I was here since 2 was actually great. It was nice and quiet, and it's good to see we're back alive. I want to represent 2 things. One is medical students in this city. If you cut TTC services, how am I going to get home after a shift at the hospital? When I'm working until the early hours of the morning, trying to service the people of Toronto, what am I going to do? I don't know. Why would I not go out to another hospital? If I'm making a choice between hospitals in Canada, why would I stay to Toronto if it's going to be difficult to come here? The answer is I wouldn't. Second, I want to actually talk about something that's really bothered me today. And before I came to study medicine at the University of Toronto, and sorry, this is for you, sir. Mr. Ford, this is for you. I studied at the London School of Economics as a top-rated, award-winning economist. And I can tell you, looking at the KPMG report, I can guarantee you that what you're proposing is not only bad economics, it is really bad healthcare. And so for each of you here today, I want you to remember that what you're doing for the city of Toronto, as the largest city in Canada, and therefore the highest proportion of Canadians in this country, is you are creating a healthcare crisis. That is undeniable. I have studied healthcare systems across this world. What you're proposing is so short-term, I don't think you've actually really thought it out. And I'm begging you, as a medical student who wants to work in this country, who wants to work in this city, don't make my work more difficult because, quite frankly, the blood pressure has been high in this room and I expect to see quite a few in a few years. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Councillor Mahavik.
Yes, thank you. Having studied at the London School of Economics.
I did. I studied there last year.
That's not my question. you may be aware that in London, actually, public health has pioneered this thing called health impact assessments. Are you familiar with that work? And would you advocate that as we go through these policy changes, some of which will be pretty dramatic on the impact of the city, that we should do a health impact assessment on these policy changes?
This is actually something that's come to medicine and the health field generally over the past few years, is that there's been a new way of assessing everything from drugs to procedures that you're putting through in medicine. Absolutely. It's more than just economics. It's more than just cost effectiveness. You're looking at issues like equity that's been repeated so often tonight. I honestly believe that if this report is not thrown out the window and started again, you are missing a vital component of what the impact will be on many levels. Absolutely.
Thank you we still got a couple seconds left. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No, sir. You got a couple more questions. Councillor Vaughn?
Curious about your comment about not being able to get home late at night. If the doctors can't get home late at night, what do the other hospital staff do who don't get paid as well as doctors?
And you know what? This is actually something I was thinking about. I'm standing here today in an extreme position of privilege. And you know what? To be honest, I have no money right now, but in 4 years, I will be lucky beyond anything I've imagined. And it's something that I owe to this society, not as a matter of trying to feel good, but frankly, I would be so happy to have my taxes increased in any form. I really can't imagine how other people will deal with some of the cuts. Again,
In terms of the choices you have, you can practice medicine anywhere you want in the world, so how do you make the decision as to where you want to practice, and what are the elements of the city that would attract you?
You know what? I've lived and I've traveled across the world. Toronto is one of the best cities I've ever seen. This is home. I love it.
Yep, sorry. Councillor Davis? Sorry.
I did want to ask a similar question, which you didn't answer. Councillor Vaughan's, I know we tried to cut the night buses a couple of years ago, or there was an effort to at the TTC, and it was turned back. And it was the hospital workers who were most affected in my ward at Toronto East General Hospital. Isn't it the case, really, that it will be the nurses, the other shift workers that are most likely to be affected by cuts to the night buses?
You know, absolutely, and I think the shame with that is that they are the people who will be providing so essential services. Again, we tend to, in medicine, and this is really bad, we tend to focus sometimes on physicians, but you're right. Again, I would say look at the equity issues. I only have 6 seconds. It's there, it needs to be considered.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I don't see any other
Thank you for your time.
questions. Thank you.